Top 10 for most of this race, actually.
Good afternoon, sim racing fans, and welcome to race day number 1 on the 2015 SARA Fall Brawl Spectacular and day 6 overall, the biggest short track racing week in sim racing. Happy Halloween as we welcome you into the beginning of our back-to-back-to-back triple feature this afternoon from the home of the Snowball Derby. As after 5 days of qualifications and practice, it's time to put your money where your mouth is, or in this case, go out there and get the money and prizes that await the winners and our top finishers this evening. Evan Pasoko alongside Cisco Scaramuza, joined by Gabriel Wood up in the LSRTV broadcast booth. As always, Laura Lawson down in the production trailer, guys. 5 days of qualifications. Last night they qualified the super trucks, and we'll see those a little bit later on this evening, but we tuned in on day 4 back on Thursday. Super late model qualification, Cisco. Obviously these aren't the super lates, that's the main event coming up tomorrow night, but 3 feature races. We get it all kicked off with these SK modifieds, and they're on track for 150 laps.
Yep, and we're going to see a couple of those familiar names we saw on Thursday. People like Ty Spearman, Ryan Borges, Hunter Combs, all these guys probably running multiple features today and tomorrow. So we're going to be looking, they're going to probably have more track time, especially if they're running every single feature. You know, every little bit of track time can help, especially here at Five Flags, which is one of the newer tracks in the iRacing service.
Yeah, a lot of guys you'll see now, you'll see them later, and you'll see them later on tonight also. So a lot of guys doing double, triple duty, if not that. The guys as well working with a racetrack that has marbles being carried over from practice. So they're starting out right now in this 20-minute warm-up session, Gabriel. 20%, rather 30% actually, of marbles on the racetrack. That's going to be carried over to tonight's 150-lap feature.
Yeah, considering how far, we only got a 20-car field, it should be a pretty lean, mean, green race. That if we get a bunch of cautions, they're going to pick up those marbles, and you're going to see a lot more guys venturing out, if they can, to the outside lane. But if we get running probably close to 80 laps, you're going to see marbles start forming around the outside lane, and it's just going to make making a move just that much harder.
So this evening, again, we get racing underway officially with the NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150, presented by NEO Racing News, your home for racing news, photos, and videos from across the Northeast Ohio. We will bring you the latest from the asphalt and dirt tracks with updates from regional and national touring series that swing through the area. You can visit them at NEORacingNews.com on all outlets of social media to keep up to date with them. So the grid for this race already has been set. Let's take a look at what happened during SK Modified qualifying night. That was the opener to these now prior 5 days of racing action. Back on a Monday night, SK Modified qualifying started with the time trials as we saw on Thursday. Ty Spearman picked up the top lap with a $5 Fast Lap award with a 16.522, his best time in that one. Now, the top 10 cars went to the time trial system, but again, we saw this exact same format on Thursday. With that, Hunter Combs, Ryan Borges, they were inverted onto the front row. Combs got out to an early lead, but Borges, after being 9th originally in time trials, got the pole. He's scheduled to start in the number 1 spot, and he's 3rd right now in practice, so the 32 machine showing some good speed.
And after that, Hunter Combs actually dropped down to 3rd. Excuse me, and the Explosive Motorsports ALS Association, number 4 of Wendell Stratton, got that 2nd spot. His teammate, Davey Rinnow, is going to be in the 70. He's going to be starting 4th, so 2 team cars right up there starting on the outside. So that could be a great help to them later on during the race.
And I mentioned the time that fast lap was. That was the 16:5:22, Gabriel. Obviously, they're running a lot faster than that right now. Right now, it's Davey Riendo, the fastest driver in the warm-up session as we hit the final minute with a 15:668. That's almost an entire second quicker. Big part of that is because qualifying in the day, well, we're under the lights here at the home of the Snowball Derby, so speed's obviously up from what these guys have been used to all week long. That's why getting everything they can out of not only this 20-minute warm-up session, but they have had 4 hours of practice already on track this morning, getting prepared for the different track conditions.
Oh, I'm not even surprised about these guys running fast times with the amount of talent in this league. What I'm surprised about is the top 17 are separated by 3/10. Like I said, it's going to be hard to pass, and with guys this close in competition, we should see a bunch of big pack racing.
And with that, the top 15 alone separated by just about 1/10 of a second as well. And your pole sitter for tonight's race, Ryan Borges, making a comment that the times are all very close. It should be, without a doubt, a very exciting race. 75 miles start to finish in this one, and with that, the warm-up session draws to a close, and these drivers will take the grid. So with that, let's take a look down at the starting lineup for this afternoon's NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150. I'm running down through the LSRTV starting grid. Pole position, as we mentioned, it'll go to Ryan Borges for winning the SK Modified Time Trials, and then as well going over into the dash and winning in the top 10. He'll start from pole position. Wendell Stratton will start alongside in second. We mentioned Hunter Combs, who started from the top spot. Going into that dash, will start in third tonight. Davey Riendo, the fastest driver in practice, starts in fourth, and then rounding out our top 5, Cisco, the number 92 of Ty Spearman, fastest driver in the time trials on Monday, rounds out our top 5.
In sixth spot, we're going to have Michael Gurman in the 31. Right behind him in the 7th spot is going to be Kevin J. Myers driving for the Posse. 8's going to be Marcus Lambert. And Matt Rolfe and James Linkowitz going to round out your top 10.
You got Ian Lane right behind him. Todd Sipe is going to be the first car outside the top 10 and 11. Dale Owen, the number 29, is going to be 12th. Cody Erderman, is going to start 13th. Patrick Hahe, I'm very familiar with that name. He's going to roll off in 14th. Alex O'Brien is going to be your 15th place starter in the number 1.
16th spot going to go to the driver of the number 6. That is Dustin Phillips. Anthony Mahone starts outside on the next row, 17th outside to him, the 84 of Russell Berry. Kevin Berg, 19th, the final driver to qualify on the grid via the finishing position in the heat races. Provisionals go to the 20th place starter, Bill Martin, the 21st place starter, Joe Schaefer Jr., and the 22nd place starter, Kyle Holtzhausen. So with those provisionals, we saw how difficult it was to get yourself locked into this race, Cisco, on Thursday night with the super late qualifying. Obviously, no different with these modifieds on Monday. We get the one to go this time by. There's fast guys up front, there's fast guys in the back, and in between. What's the key to these next 150 laps?
Well, we saw it on Thursday. It's going to be that bottom line. We didn't really see anyone have the ability to pass on the outside. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same thing here this afternoon. You got to be on that bottom line. That's the only way you're going to get a good line around this track.
We've gone through 5 days, but finally the final 2 are upon us, and it's time to get racing. We're glad to have you with us on LSRTV, the pace car. Going to make the sharp left-hand turn, get down and out of the way. Borges in control. He's on the accelerator. Green flag flies. The NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150. Green to turns 1 and 2 for the first time, and as we predicted, inside lane.
No problems.
32 is good. Second place, third place. That's the only side-by-side. Top 5 single file.
And it looks like the 96 got on the grass there coming out of turn 2. Maybe got forced down there. He wasn't too happy about that, but we'll have to see if he can make those positions back up.
We know Kevin J. Myers, Gabriel, wanting to get down to the bottom of the racetrack. Problem is, when he did so well, he wasn't really clear, and that hurts the 96. And Lambert started in 7th, got back going, now falls to 18th. He's last on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's just somebody being way too aggressive at the beginning of the race. The key to this race, it's going to be right around that bottom line, just like Cisco said, but you have to pick and choose your moments. It's 150 laps. You don't need to make your aggressive moves right now. You have time to make it back up front. There's a lot of good racing as Kevin J. Myers getting passed by the 51 of Matt Rolfe.
And Matt Roll, 5th fastest driver in one of the practice sessions earlier tonight, making a move on to number 67, who was 21st. So he makes that spot, and once that inside opens up, the floodgates open, the 25 car going on through. So Todd Sipe going to bump up to 8th. 9th will go to Cody Erdman, so the 35 picks up an additional spot, and just like that, Kevin J. Myers started 60s back to 10th, though problems on a racetrack. Caution flag is out. The 98 machine sideways, and that car pointing nose end first towards the inside wall. Ian Lane could be the first caution flag on the night, and this contact was a little bit assisted, it appears, at a turn 2.
Yeah, it looked like the 29 got in the back of Ian Lane there going into 1. Maybe just a little too close. Made 29 of Dale Owen, wasn't expecting him to get off the gas as much. So he's going to receive an EOL for causing that caution, so he'll get put to the back of the line. But that's a huge break for Lambert, who is all the way in the back. He should be able to get back up there now.
Yeah, and Dale Owen didn't hesitate either to take responsibility or claim that caution, so he'll get the end of the longest line penalty for that contact. You take a look at the LSRTV replay right now in that, and the interesting thing about that is what I keep looking at is practice speeds versus where these guys are in the race. And Gabriel, I know we talked about it. They're picking up speed because under the lights here tonight as opposed to qualifying that's in the day. If you're good at a racetrack, you're going to be good at it day or night. But there are some guys that really flourish when you take the sun down and you turn the lights on. So most of these battles that we've seen and where that contact came from, also where the contact came from on that first lap, those were two drivers where the driver making the advancing position was much better than the guy that, although they started in front of them, they were much better off than them in a practice session before we went green. That's the difference in speed. And again, practice may not necessarily account for a car on a long run, but at least in that opening short stint, you can tell who's very quick on 4 tires.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, they're not just league racers, they're official racers in fixed and open. And open, there's a lot of guys, they like a tight car, they like a loose car. During the daytime, hot, slick, guys will be able to throw the car around. But the guys who are making up positions right now, they seem to more favor the colder, more grippier side of the track. And that's what they're going to have to deal with. We're not racing till 6 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to have to, or they're going to have to adapt to the changing conditions.
Total of 19 drivers take the green flag here. One driver already 2 laps at a negative. That's Kevin Mahone. Started in 17th position. Elected to start that car down from the pit lane. Did not start out on track with all of the other drivers. By the time he got up onto the racetrack, already 1 lap to the negative. He finds himself 2 laps down at this point in 19th position. So 19 cars take the grid out of a scheduled 30. So a couple of drivers not making their first feature race on the evening. The guys out there on track, though, not complaining. That's just the less amount of cars that they're going to have to find their way through if they want to be able to get to the checkered flag tonight. Lights off on top of the pace car. This restart coming up will be 10 laps down, 140 to go.
Yeah, it is, and as they come down the backstretch here, you got to be wondering what's going through the mind of Ryan Borges. Is he going to try and jump as soon as he did, like he did before, or is he going to maybe lay back and try and play some games with these guys? I guess we'll find out in about 10 seconds.
He's got from now to the green flag drops. He hesitates a little bit more. The first American Ethanol restart at a turn 4. Back and away we go for the 5 flag Speedway. 10 down, 140 left to go. Same song and dance though. It's Ryan Borges, first car out in the lead at a turn number 2. Hunter Combs in second, side by side for third. Behind them, the 92 at Ty Spearman top side. And on the bottom, it's Wendell Stratton trying to make the move bottom lane, obviously with the advantage. He pulls half a car length advantage.
Right now, the biggest battle on the track that I can see is there's a huge battle actually going for about 9th. Kind of Cody Erdman and Kevin J. Myers have been fighting there. They kind of had a little bit of roadblock type actually to get through there, but it looks like they're going to get it now. So it looks like Myers into the wall. Hopped the car up a little bit there. He's going to be okay and going to continue without losing too much time, but he kind of got knocked out of that battle now as Myers is kind of just going to be watching here for a little while, trying to get that 67 machine back up there.
Guys, look
that
out
almost
front.
looked like that was an unforced error with that 67 because he was not side by side at the point though for the race lead they go for. And Hunter Combs talked about how he found himself on the top spot for the qualifying dash. He takes over the race lead from Ryan Borges. Big key thing for that 63 was Ryan Borges on the inside lane, obviously, for the start. Hunter Combs, though, on that one, Gabriel, found himself in second. Well, he was able to get down in line. That was the key, not allowing that inside lane to get in front of him. He sets up Borges for the pass, and as we get a long run now, trying to get underway, the 63 trying to pull a gap. Already 3 car lengths to the good.
Yeah, that was more of a situation created by the leader, Ryan Borges, on the restart. He took off, and that left a gap. The third place car was kind of caught sleeping, and that allowed 63 to jump down.
Caution flag back out. You saw it come up at the top of your screen this time. The 96 of Marcus Lambert sideways in turn number 2 again. Caution flag flies. This one, though, a little bit of a different story. Problems start in front of him. We'll work on getting that replay up for you in just a moment. But it's the Bass Pro Shops number 1 of Alex O'Brien. Started in 15th position, running in 13th. Big wide arc into the corner. That car just broke sideways, and the one hangs on to it after he comes down. The 96 really the driver that keeps him pointed the right direction. Not as good as news if you're Marcus Lambert. That car spins out, so the Motor Racing Network number 96 can get back out there, get back going. If there's any good news, he didn't pound the fence, but for the second time tonight, found the wrong direction.
And we're going to be seeing the 96 and 1 come down pit road, and this gives me a chance to talk about one of the interesting rules that we have for this race tonight. These teams are only allowed 4 extra tires, so you know, you could do 1 pit stop, put on all 4, or you could do 2 sets of 2. So some strategy we might be seeing later. And also, jacking up on these cars isn't the quickest thing in the world. So it'll be interesting to see who pits when, and if it'll help or maybe hurt some of these drivers to get some of that fresh rubber.
Sigh of relief for Marcus Lambert. Apparently, he got no damage from that, so he's very lucky.
So he gets back out there, however, he'll find himself now 18th position. Still a long way to go, though, after starting 7th on the grid. We know there's speed behind the wheel of that automobile. We'll see what he can do with it. 20 laps going to be in the books by the time we go back green flag racing. We talk about those tires. That's something that we saw doing our coverage of the SARA RB Performance Super Late Model Series, and it is a major part of the strategy in this races. You might not think it now, but get down to those final 20 laps, you're going to have a handful of guys that are outrageously faster than the rest of the field. But Gabriel, a challenge that these guys are going to find is when do you take that, because you're going to have to commit rather early. If you're taking 4 tires, you're probably going to wait a little bit longer to take them. If you're taking 2 sets of right side tires, you might see those guys come down a little bit earlier. So it's almost a game of cat and mouse. As you want to get your strategy rolling, you don't want those guys to know what your strategy is, and your strategy, whether it passes or fails, is completely dictated really on how this race goes as far as caution flags.
Yeah, it's really determining on how many cautions we get. If it's right now, you know, once we get around about lap 40, 50, enough time for those tires to wear out, you may see guys take 2, but they're all depending on getting another caution later in the race so they can go ahead and get the other tires. If we don't get those cautions, you'll see the guys take that took 4 on that same pit stop. You'll see them just blow right past them as we're getting the 1 to go.
We get set to go back, and it's going to be Hunter Combs this time on the inside of the racetrack. Will be the control car that kicks Ryan Borges out topside after he lost the race lead off that last green flag and is now finding himself in second. It's Spearman third, Riendo fourth, and Linkowitz rounding out your top 5. The pace car down and away. Great restart from Ryan Borges topside. It'll be Ryan Combs, first driver to get that chrome horn across the start-finish line. Borges, though, good job jumping down to the inside. He takes second. Make sure that Ty Spearman doesn't challenge for that position at the moment. And a first battle on track is for 4th. Advantage clearly, though, in favor of James Linkowitz, trying to hold off on the top side and doing a pretty good job.
And right now, meanwhile, up in second, Ty Spearman was actually get to the bottom of Ryan Borges. Borges pushed up the track just a little bit, so that's going to give that second spot right now to Ty Spearman, driving for the posse. He's looking to maybe gain some time on Hunter Combs, put up a fight for that top spot.
And that number 32, same problem that he had with Hunter Combs to get around, is that when you open up the bottom side of the racetrack where that's evidently the place to be, those guys really have free picket at you. Now, you're not going to come off of turn 2, come off of turn 4, and hold that car to the inside fence, maybe a little bit later on, but you see Borges there again, not the speed off the corner to the straightaways that he needs, and this could really get bad for him. Now, the 7 Linkowitz trying to get in, he'll take 3rd, Borges falls back to 4th. He could be 8th or 9th by the time this is done. We got Riendo, Stratton, and company, everybody pouncing on Borges.
Choo-choo, here comes the freight train, the whole field pulling by our old leader, and just how quickly things can change.
35 now alongside, that's Cody Erdman. Matt Rolfe going to join the party. Just behind him, the 99 of Matt Berg, Todd Sipe, everybody still stacked up on each other off of the green flag. Ryan Borges probably quicker than some of these cars, but when you're up there, there's really no realistic expectation to be able to do anything with that. Meanwhile, up front, Hunter Combs got it last time. This time, Ty Spearman had mentioned that he was the fastest driver on those single lap runs during time trials on Monday. Forced himself to find himself 10th, though, in the top 10 dash. Not the qualifying effort that he may have liked. He still gets a 5th, and now showing why he was the best driver in time trials. Spearman to the race lead, already good by about 2 or 3 tenths of a second.
And finally, Ryan Borges was able to get a spot on that lower line. He's going to be 10th now in line. So he went all the way from outside pole to 10th, and that just shows how kind of tough it is to hang tough on that outside. He's all the way back there, as it looks like Cody Erdman got to the inside of the number 51 of Matt Rolfe. Rolfe now going in the spin style and heading straight to the back. It feels like we're watching Talladega, guys.
Wendell Stratton got a little bit sideways, and that checked things out real quick behind him. Erdman, as you mentioned, got to the bottom. Just behind them, it's Kevin Berg. He sits and watches, though. That side-by-side in front of him, side-by-side behind him. Matt Rolfe was just one of the drivers jumping all over Ryan Borges. And Al Gabriel, he finds himself on the other end of that because he's topsiding going backwards.
Yeah, Hunter Combs. It's exactly what happened to his old rival up front. It's just going to be feast or famine. Are you going to take advantage of it, or are you going to get taken advantage of?
It's difficult to sit there, ride single file, and try to knock laps off. Already 32 laps in of 150 on this first feature race on the day, but it is exactly that, Cisco. You can't sit behind somebody and be satisfied, because if you're sitting behind somebody, it means that you can probably challenge to pass them. If they're not getting away, you have to take advantage. In the 4 car of Stratton, another problem at a turn number 4, second time in almost as many laps. That time, car got a little bit tight. He caught the fence. That'll cost him 2 spots now. 3 wide, the 67 of Myers, top side in the middle. He's trying to make some moves on Ryan Borges.
And it was a little close there between Stratton and the 87 of Patrick Hayes. But, you know, I think what Stratton's going to do, he had that little kind of shocker moment there. So I think the best thing to do right now is drop to the bottom, get in that rhythm again. You can't let that kind of freak you out. You just got to get back down and start hitting your marks again. So meanwhile, as we look back towards the front, Ty Spearman and James Lankowitz have kind of pulled away. It looks like just those two are kind of putting about a second or so on the 3rd place and back, guys.
And Spearman was good by over half a second, actually almost to a second, until James Lankowitz got up and through past that second-place car. So he gets in front of Dave Riendo. Next thing you know, the 7 on the Prowl. Lap 38 begins the gap down to just 3.5 tenths of a second between Spearman and Lankowitz, but by far a second out in front of 3rd on back, the class of the field. We talked about Anthony Mahone, the 671 machine, started from pole position, had lost 2 laps. He was your lucky dog under that first caution flag. Still sits as the only driver off at a lead lap, 19th spot, 1 lap down. Other than that, first from Spearman through Alex O'Brien on the lead lap, but caution flag will fly just shy of the 3rd mark, and a whole lot of guys scatter. Borges around in heavy contact. He gets hit by Patrick Hayes. Yellow flag is out, and that one after the initial caution flag. Everybody checked up for the initial problem at a turn number 4. With that, we saw the spinning race car on the inside of the racetrack of Matt Rolfe, and then Borges caught up after the yellow in an accident with the 87.
Yeah, I mean, what to bring out that caution? It was just like a simple spin by the 51 of Matt Rolfe, and then it looks like everyone just went crazy there. I'm not really sure what happened.
And it was on quarter exit. A lot of guys giving that car a lot of wheel, trying to get on the brakes at the same time. They all got squirrely, and then we saw Borges go around, got hit in the side. So Matt Rolfe going to take the virtual tow down to the pit lane, trying to get some service done on that race car. For the other parties involved in that accident, though, Ryan Borges, the number 32 machine, he's down to the pit lane. The 87 who got into him, Patrick Hayes, as well, appears to be coming down to the pit lane. So for Ryan Borges, Gabriel, these guys have a strategy that they come into this race with. Ryan Borges, as your pole sitter, you got to figure he's starting in the best spot that you can. When you're in an accident like this, I don't see that car going up on the jack, so I don't think he's doing any tires quite yet. But if there's another point in this race, we talked about how yellows are a big factor. If you get in an accident, you have to come down and service your race car. That as well could make you have to adjust what your tire strategy is in this race on the fly.
Yeah, and you only get maybe 1 or 2 chances to adjust it, if that. You know, it's just really going to be hard.
The Borges will go back out. Mount Rolf is going to fall 3 laps to the negative. He has quite the time delay, I would assume, to be able to get back onto the pit lane and service that race car. Mahone gets the wave by, so the 671 is back to the lead lap at the moment. 16th position out of 18 cars. Ty Spearman, though, race leader. He was much faster than Hunter Combs, who was much faster than Borges, but Cisco, James Linkowitz was putting quite the pressure on him. I wouldn't count that 7 machine out, and we've seen that he's fast in every single car he's been in this weekend.
No, we saw him get in front of both Hunter Combs and Dave Riendo. So we know that 7 is going to be fast. The question is, he was starting to catch the 92, but can he get enough of a run to maybe potentially move the 92 out of the way? Because I don't think you're going to get it done on the outside no matter how fast your car is.
Well, we await to go back green. The key is for Spearman, and we haven't really seen the race leader have to deal with much. It's not even a racetrack where if you still have that guy in second on your outside to turn 1, Gabriel, that's really not a concern for the race leader. That control car position has been very good. However, the 92, how about that? He likes to take the outside for this one. It might help him with his arc into the corner. Now, though, you're in a spot where you can't let that 7 stay alongside you, or next thing you know, he's in the preferred lane.
Yeah, if that 7 car gets even a half-decent restart, we have a new leader.
The objective for James Linkowitz, get the nose to the inside. The objective for Ty Spearman, get clear as they sail him off down to turn number 1. 106 laps to go at the 5 Flag Speedway. Pace car down to the lane. Green flag flies and back and away we go. Good start by Linkowitz. Not enough though. Spearman ducks down to the inside of the racetrack, and because he started up top, that's a great arc to give him a lot of speed. The 7 Linkowitz 1 car length back in turns number 3 and 4.
Another great battle. Kevin Berg kind of getting stuck on that outside. He's racing the 35 of Cody Erdman. That's kind of the closest, and then they're 2x2 behind them is Erdman.
Car! Spinning, and there's going to be more contact topside. Caution flag is out. It's Kevin Berg who is sent in down to turn number 1, and I don't think there was any actual contact there, guys. Just a lot of guys all over each other. A little bit of netcode may have played into that. You talk about how guys having connection problems being a factor of our sim racing equivalency to a mechanical failure in real life. Well, you can call this the same thing because Berg topside, no, there wasn't a lot of room. Him and that 35 of Erdman down low, but I don't think they touched. Low got spun out, and I'm watching the car behind trying to avoid this one. Dale Owen shoots high side. He can't avoid it. Those 2 cars make contact. The yellow flag is out.
I want you to look at the 84 of Russell Berry. He had nowhere to go. He had cars to his inside. He just locked up the brakes and stopped.
And he's able to keep going, and he's not going to lose his spot, so that's good news for the number 84 machine. If you can't go around it, stop, wait for it to clear, keep on rolling, and Russell Berry does not pick up any damage in that. He was directly in line, Cisco, behind where we saw the 29 of Dale Owen trying to get around on the top side as well, so smart move by him to not try to swerve and avoid it. He locked it up, spun the car out, almost doing so, but he didn't get hit from behind, so it was a good call.
Yep, and he came down pit road as well as Ryan Borges. So those guys are both on pit road, made to get some adjustments or maybe throw some new tires on their machines. But Matt Rolfe also came down pit road. But I just felt so bad for Dale Owen. He was stuck on the outside already, and his night just got worse.
And Dale Owen obviously going to have to work with the damage on that car for the rest of the evening. He can come down pit road. He can get it fixed. If it's some pretty heavy damage, though, Gabriel, you're not going to be able to come down to the pit lane, get a whole new front-end piece on that race car just like that. If the sim gives you 6-7 minutes, you know, even at an intermediate racetrack, 1.5, if you're talking NASCAR Sprint Cup Series kind of stuff, that's still a difficult thing to fix. But at a short track like this, where your caution flag laps are only taking 44 laps, on the pit lane, you don't have a lot of time to get down the pit road speed, get to your stall, stop, allow the team to start working on that car, get back out there, not get lapped. So we see Dale Owen come back down the pit lane. Anybody that has damage that's in the same boat as him, they're going to be doing that all night long. Come down, get service, get out in front of the pace car, come down, get it fixed, trying to get that car. It'll never get back to 100%. Just get it as competitive as possible.
Oh, and these SK modifieds and the Tour modifieds, they're even worse than NASCAR cars. I mean, NASCARs have fenders. These guys are open wheel. NASCAR, if you smack the wall, it's probably maybe a 15-second repair. These cars, it's a 1-minute repair for just smacking the wall. So you have to be really careful with these cars. And looks like the 92 is going to take the outside again. It worked once. It may as well work again.
Well, they got the chrome horn on the front of them. They got the cages on the sides and the back. But unless your contact is right there, all 4 of those tires with the exposed wheels on this, and especially the front suspension, that can definitely be a headache place. So up top side again for the number 92. He liked the way it worked the last time. The 7 Linkowitz will challenge on the bottom. 99 laps will remain here from the Five Flag Speedway as we get back at it. Top side Spearman, he's not waiting at all. Green flag flies. Back and away we go. Top 2 clear. Out of the battle for third, though. Hunter Combs trying to do something. Can't get the job done, and a smart move by him. He backs it off in 2, ducks down the line, and digs forward instead of forcing the issue up top and Maine getting stranded.
Yeah, and it looks like someone who wasn't able to get down was that 67 machine who got in the wall just a little bit there, Kevin Myers. He's kind of stuck on that outside racing the 39 of Bill Martin. Hopefully Kevin's going to be able to jump to the inside now. He's going to do just that. Oh, maybe sort of like he's the first one I've seen to really sort of prefer that kind of middle lowish line. So he might be trying to save a little bit of tires doing that, or maybe found some grip that might come into play later on as the track road goes.
You know, Evan, you were speaking of the chrome horn. With the way these guys are passing and with the lack thereof, you get down towards the final half of this race, you're going to see a lot of chrome horn usage at the end of this race. Just guys they're out of desperation to get around people.
At the moment, nobody's stumbled up inside of the top 10, but a lot of these guys very close to each other, just outside the top 10. Going to fight in action. Patrick Hahey up top side, the 87. The challenger will be the number 29 of Dale Owen. Owen to the bottom of the racetrack. That car on and off the pit lane, as we mentioned, on that caution flag, trying to get fixed. He makes the pass. Look at that move from behind, though. How about Kevin Berg? Follows the 29 through and then takes advantage of that, goes bottom side. He'll get 2 spots that lap.
Yeah, as we see a little bit of contact there between Hahey and Owen. So obviously, you know, these cars starting to lose a little bit of their handle. It's been about 50 laps. Yeah, we've had some caution. Oh, trouble! Saved it!
He should have been in the
Saved
wall,
it.
but
Can
he
we get a
saved it.
replay on that? That 29 car Dale Owen. He was sideways. I have no idea how he did that.
Now he's going to go way up to the fence down the backstretch. And again, you saw that contact with Patrick Hahey. Owen pushed up, small contact with Hahey. I don't think it's damage that's causing the 29.
One car.
I think it's just losing the handling, though. Caution flag back out again. We'll take a look at the replay of the save. Meanwhile, we slow things down at lap number 59. Alex O'Brien finds himself in the number 1 Tracker Boats machine into the inside retaining wall. That car with a single car accident at a turn number 4. Backs it into the fence. We slow things down and pass the 1/3 mark for the Five Flag Speedway. Going to take this opportunity to step away and take a quick caution flag of our own. You're watching the NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150, part of the SARA Fall Brawl Spectacular on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Top 10 for most of this race, actually.
LSRTV back live at the Five Flag Speedway, the home of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series, bringing you our coverage of race day 1. It's day 6, though, for the biggest short track racing event in sim racing, the SARA Sim Auto Racing Association Fall Brawl. Getting things kicked off on this Saturday afternoon with the NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150. Evan Pasoko, Cisco Scaramuza, and Gabriel Wood along with you for the ride. And Ty Spearman, bottom side again because the 92, I guess he likes up top.
Yeah, it's been working for him so far. He's been able to get the jump on the 7. I got to think, though, that the 7 might be starting to maybe pick up a read or two from the 92. So I'm just kind of thinking, how long can Ty Spearman stay up there before the 7 maybe gets him on a restart here?
He'll get another opportunity. The pace car down. The 92 not playing as many games as Ryan Borges was. And the 7 keeps it there, but he can't keep it down to turn number 1. It'll be Ty Spearman clear side by side for his 3rd place. That's always been a first battle. Down the back straightaway. 63 stuck up top side. Contact for the race lead. Linkowitz gives a shot to the 92.
Gabe talked about it. As we ride along on James Linkowitz, Gabe talked about a little bit, people maybe starting to use that chrome horn maybe to loosen up the guy in front of them. But as we see now, the biggest battle kind of shoved up there was the 63 of Hunter Combs by Bill Martin in the 39. So he kind of moved him up a little bit there, but made these, it's still pretty early, but if the tempers are starting to go now, this might be a little more dirty race than we thought.
Well, I was just about to say, why haven't we talked a lot about Bill Martin? Quiet was in 4th right now, but he started back in 20th position, so he definitely is on the charge forward. How about the battle just behind them, though? You talked about Hunter Combs. Combs to the inside of the racetrack, not before Cody Erdman gets clear. That leaves the 67 to Kevin J. Myers. He is trying to find a spot in line. 3/4 of a car length between the 63 and the 4, not going to be enough space, so he'll stay up there, and that gives these guys on the bottom just enough time to form that freight train again. The 4, he'll be followed by the 25 of Sipe, Kevin Berg, Dale Owen. It doesn't stop from there. The 67 contact, a big accident on the front straightaway, up and over into the turn 1 wall, and Todd Sipe down the racetrack. He'll collect the number 84 machine as well. Caution flag is out, but flat spinning right side downwards for the caution flag to come out. I was just about to say that we know Myers is going to try to do whatever he can to get down. That time, though, I don't think you can blame the 67. I think the 25 even might have thought he was clear. And one thing that we were talking about under the commercial break there, Cisco, was the poor visibility in turn 4. You'll take a look at the replay now. I think Sipe just ran him out of room, and that contact sends him up and over into the outside wall.
Yeah, and Gabe talked about it earlier. These cars, they don't have fenders. So, what happened there was the 25 just wheel locked with the 67. The wheels started to slow down in the 67, which basically acted like a catapult and just flipped the 25 over. And the 84 couldn't get stopped up enough. That was the 84 of Russell Berry. He couldn't get stopped, so he's got a little bit of damage. But it's kind of weird to see, SKs getting flipped over. That's not something you see every day.
So Sipe obviously had to take the virtual tow down to the safety of the pit lane, so he'll lose a lap in that exchange. Matt Rolfe going to get the wave by, though, the Lucky Dog car. He'll come from 3 laps down after having to take that same tow that Sipe is in right now. Gets the wave by for the 3rd time. He is now back on the lead lap. We don't know how good that number 51 machine is, but he's back at a spot to be able to fight and challenge for this one. This afternoon's NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150, presented in part by NEO Racing News, your home for racing news, photos, and videos from across Northeast Ohio. We will bring you the latest from area asphalt and dirt tracks with updates from regional and national touring series that swing through the area. Search for NEO Racing News on all outlets of social media to give them a follow. A big part of race 1 of 3 tonight, race 1 of 5 on the weekend. Coming up a little bit later on, just past 7 o'clock Eastern Time, the Street Stock feature, the Super Truck feature, also tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. Tomorrow, the Pro Late Models at 6 o'clock Eastern, and followed by at 9 o'clock Eastern, the Super Late Model features. All today's races, 150. Tomorrow, the Pro Lates are 200, and the Super Lates are 250. Both of tomorrow's races live on LSRTV and iRacing Live.
Yeah, those are going to be some awesome events. We're going to be seeing even bigger names going into that, especially in the super late model. We're going to be seeing Ty Majeski, one of the best iRacers in the service, kind of hopping in his car that he gets to run in real life, and he's going to go out there and try and bring home the win there in the super late model feature. They have a little bit of prize for that, don't they?
Just a little bit up for grabs, over $200 as well. The winner of this one, $115 going to be paid out to your top finishers, a minimum of about 20 plus drivers to the winner of this one. So you have $115 on the line right now, plus $45 of additional prizes for things like the hard chargers and such. So a lot on the line, total up to about $150 worth in this SK modified feature. Gonna go back at it. The pace car gets down and away. Spearman, same old song and dance. Green flag flies, not by a lot, but again, he's safe to turn one. And again, the battle for third is on. The guy up top, I would imagine, at a big disadvantage. This time, it's Bill Martin trying to do something. Dave Riendo, though, the preferred lane down low.
And right now, the biggest battle, and Dave Riendo is in the biggest battle right now. So they're 2 by 2 behind him, sans one car, but it's 3 kind of groups that are side by side right now. Bill Martin trying to work on that outside. We'll have to see if he can make anything happen. No, he's going to try and drop in barely. Oh, it gets a little close there. But 35 will stay off the bumper of the 39, and they kind of keep it going straight. But it's starting to get a little closer out there than what we were seeing at the beginning of the race.
Erdman, the number 35 machine, just behind that battle. Martin's able to get down into the number 4 spot because that side-by-side fight behind him kind of slowed those guys down a little bit. Otherwise, again, he could have found himself on top side and he would have been going backwards very quickly. We're past the halfway point for the 5 Flag Speedway. Let's take a look at the iRacing.com midway race leaderboard as they battle for the top spot. Ty Spearman at the moment in front of James Linkowitz. Dave Riendo sits third. Bill Martin fourth, and Cody Erdman right now in 5th spot. 6th position goes to Wendell Stratton. Dale Owen at 7th. Kevin Berg 8th. 9th spot is Hunter Combs, and Marcus Lambert in the top 10.
And James Linkowitz actually, sorry to cut you off there, but James Linkowitz just put a power move, as Andy Kessler would say, on Ty Spearman, just drove it down the inside and just passed him outright. So we knew that someone's going to be fast, and he just, problems right now for the 39. Caution's going to come out. That was the 39 car of Bill Martin. He was shooting up. He started 20th. He was getting up in the top 5, and just a heartbreaker for him. Self-spin, it looked like.
Talk about timing.
Again, it's turn 4 again, guys, and it's the same thing every single time, and we'll put it up on a replay there. One thing that we commented on here, Gabriel, when we hit the track here before we went on is it's a very dark racetrack for being a night race. There's not a whole lot of lighting. You'll take a look at the replay now. The 39 pretty much following that car inside of him, but you'll see the white line for the pit road entry. It comes out of nowhere. That's where this racetrack progresses to the flat apron. The 39 left side tires on that white line, it breaks sideways. This is at least the 3rd or 4th time we've seen that exact same thing.
Yeah, once you dip a tire onto that apron coming out of turn 4, the right rear tire gets a lot more grip, and then it just sends the car back around. If these guys want to stay in contention for this race, everybody's vulnerable to it. If they want to stay in this race, they're gonna have to watch that apron coming out of turn 4. And like you said, it's very dark. That may be a dark spot on the racetrack with the lights, so they may not be able to judge the banking.
So a couple of guys coming down to the pit lane, and we talked about how there was a strategy for additional tires in addition to the Hoosier Racing tires these guys are running right now available, and it looks like a couple of guys coming down and taking some.
Yeah, Evan, it's time to get your calculator out yet again as we have differing of strategies here. The 63, the 67, the 51, and the 29 all came down, and now we have, it looks like the 51 of Matt Rolfe, he's going to take 2 tires. Everyone else on pit road, Wendell Stratton, Hunter Combs, Bill Martin obviously had to come down and get those tires changed, but a bunch of these guys are taking 4. So we're up to 3 strategies now, Evan.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're a fan of numbers, let's talk about really one of the major prizes. Obviously, we talked about there's a lot of money going out right now, going out later tonight, going on even later into the evening, and the big bucks come out tomorrow night. However, a little bit of a special thing going on. We talk about guys running multiple races. How about the New Hampshire Motor Speedway prize pack? The New Hampshire Motor Speedway recently announced their NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race dates for 2016, July 17th and September the 25th. Well, there are 14 drivers eligible to win the New Hampshire Motor Speedway prize pack, courtesy of Matt Rolfe. That includes 2 weekend race tickets to next year's September race date. 14 drivers have signed up to run all 5 of the races. Again, some drivers not starting tonight, but if every single person who is in all 5 races starts those 5 races, The lowest combined finish will get 2 race tickets to the entire race weekend at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in 2016. So if you get a first, and a first, that's 5 points. That's better than getting a bunch of top 10s and a higher number. So we're going by golf points in that. So that's something as well that, hey, maybe you can't walk away with a big prize tonight. I would not object to going to catch the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action on SARA's tab in 1 year's time. Until that, though, another step forward, just shy of 2/3 of the way. Linkowitz topside the control car, and he's going to pull a Ty Spearman on that restart. Green flag flies, and he's clear, giving the 92 a taste of his own medicine.
It's kind of annoying, to see your plan kind of get used against you there, but it worked for James Linkowitz, so I wonder if we're going to see anything different here for the remainder of the night, as it's worked so well. But a huge hornet's nest right now, as we like to say. Back for about 8th and 9th. Ian Blaine's kind of leading that charge. Right now, Anthony Mahone in the 671. He was 2 laps down earlier. He's made up all his laps, and now he's battling into the top 10. Great run for the 671.
And he made the pass but got pushed up high side, and now the 4 of Wendell Stratton making a move to the inside. He'll make the pass. He'll be followed by the number 29, Dale Owen, making another move. The 67 just behind Kevin J. Myers, just in an accident, making a move. Also, you got Bill Martin right there. The 39 was just in an accident. The 51 machine as well. Same boat as a lot of these guys. Matt Rolfe as well was 3 laps to the negative after his incident. That's where you find everything outside of the top 10. It's guys that are fast, but they've had problems. There's no slacking, although they're not some of the top runners.
I'd like to give the Heartbreak Award, just after halfway. The number 32, Ryan Board, just started on the pole, led the first 20 laps, and then it just went downhill from there as we got a caution.
And spinning after the yellow, Alex O'Brien into the wall. He tried to get out of the way for the 671 of Austin Mahone, who had some problems up on the top side of the racetrack. And this one is not a single car accident. The 671 machine, he's going to get a little bit of assistance there, and it's an interesting one to call because they go into the corner. The inside retaining wall at this speedway is right up on the bottom of the racetrack. So the 671 gets turned, but I don't think there's anywhere else Todd Sipe could have gone. He almost took out the cone. He was so low.
Yeah, just nowhere to go really for him. 671 just kind of pinched him down to the bottom. Wasn't really nothing to do. It's just an unfortunate set of circumstances.
Well, we close in on a 2/3 mark in feature race 1 on the evening, so let's step away. We'll be back for a moment for the Five Flag Speedway. You're watching the NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150 on LSRTV.
Did you know that Lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion.
Domino's TYJ Racing League is proud to announce we are now taking driver applications for our $2,500 purse inaugural season going green January 2016. At Domino's TYJ Racing League, you get paid cash, not gift cards or die casts. Cold, hard cash. You get paid for finishing 1st through 20th in our championship and 1st through 3rd, plus a lucky dog bonus in all of our 20 races, plus other cash bonuses. You're going to like the way you look, all the way to the bank. I guarantee it. Purse amount approximate, paid cash or iRacing books. Drivers carry less than $20. Report unsafe driving to local authorities. Apply today at Domino'sTYJRacing.com to see if you qualify for our league.
Back live at the Five Flag Speedway as we approach and get set to pass the 2/3 mark in the NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150. It's day 1 of racing, but day 6 overall in the SARA Fall Brawl Spectacular. SARA's newest major event, the SARA Fall Brawl Spectacular, features an entire week of racing on the high banks of Pensacola, Florida's half-mile Five Flag Speedway. Qualifying a close after a week-long taking place. The Super Lates are headed into their next race next next night. But however, tonight we have the SKs, the Street Stocks, and the Super Trucks. SKs back under the way as green flag flies, and Spearman topside trying to do something. It's Linkowitz though who elected the bottom. Can the 92 get clear? He's got it in turn 2.
And Kevin Berg had to drop down in that 3rd position, basically took the nose off Cody Erdman in that 35. But just shows to show how desperate people are to get to that inside and get that bottom line.
And interesting to see the change of strategy on the front row, because with that one, Spearman finds himself on the top side. Remember, the 7 had taken that top side for a lot of it. Well, Spearman finds himself at a good spot again, and although the 7 had a nose there to turns 1 and 2, he was able to pick the power up and get clear, and now well off into the best spot. 87 to Patrick Hahi up on the top side and appears to be into the outside wall. At least the 2nd time tonight, I think the 87's caught the fence right at the start-finish line.
Yeah, but
if you interesting turn of events for the number 92. If you ever think you can't do something, the 92 just made a pass around the outside. Haven't seen that all night.
15 drivers on the lead lap, and right now it is Patrick Hahi who's now the last driver on the lead lap. After catching the fence, he slides all the way back to the end of the 14-car long freight train to find himself 15th. Couple of guys as we hit the final 50 laps from Five Flag Speedway, trying to hope maybe there's a caution flag to get themselves away by Ryan Borges. 1 lap to the negative right now in the lucky dog position, as well 1 lap down with him just behind in 17th is Todd Seidman. Russell Berry is 2 laps down in 18th position. But for the race lead, the 7, he's not rolling over and giving it up. The 92 may have gotten the spot, but the 7 trying to look to the inside, took the nose out there, and I actually think Spearman gave him the lane, but Linkowitz wasn't ready to pounce quite yet.
I wouldn't do that if I was Ty Spearman. We're on board now, I believe, with the 7 car of James Linkowitz, but that bottom line is so powerful. I mean, even though the 92 gave him, I kind of saw the 7 kind of gain a little bit of ground on the 92 when he gave him that spot. Maybe not enough to pass, but that just goes to show how that extreme bottom is so fast here.
That 92, he's leaving room for error, not just having the 7 jump to his inside and pass him, but the 7 car, he could go into the corner too hot and turn him, and that it's just the end of the night.
And we saw that in turn 1 a couple of laps ago when a little bit of miscommunication on the driver. Are you going there? Are you not? How much can it pinch you? It is very easy to make contact because somebody, you can't just cut somebody off and they dive to the apron and they'll come back at you, probably put you in the fence the next lap. It ends there because that inside wall, again, is maybe 6 inches away from that white line. There really is no apron on the front straightaway. So if you're that 7, you got to be smart on how you set him up. If you're the number 92 at Ty Spearman, it's difficult to say, Cisco, to be smart and let him go because you're fighting for the prize pool and the first feature race win on this entire weekend.
Yeah, at the same time, you don't want something to happen here. It's almost like a street circuit out here with how close the walls are to the track. So although we have the wide track, almost no room for error. If you get loose, get shot up in the corner, the wall's right there coming out of 4. Feels almost like a dirt track too. So it'll be interesting to see what the 7's going to do here to try and get around that 92. We know he's been really fast. I guess we'll have to see how desperate he is to grab that top spot. But for that prize, I'd be pretty desperate right now. Looks like he dives the inside, game.
He's got it to the inside. The battle for the race lead on at lap number 111, and Linkowitz half a car length good down to back straightaway. What you expect to see is the inside to win. That's exactly what happens. Linkowitz clear sideways and hang on to it. He came up and there was contact with Ty Spearman, and in all of that, Kevin Berg to the bottom. New race leader is the 99 car.
You know what, iRacing, we don't need Monaco. We're good. We got the tight little racetrack right here.
Talk about a move. That 92 on the outside, they probably should have both been in the fence, especially Cisco. We got those open tires touching each other. Somehow Spearman hung on to it, and Berg was sitting there. He was waiting. When they sat single file, he got up to them. He waited. He pounced on it. He's in the race lead. That car a little bit twitchy. The 7, Linkowitz, I'm sure he's not done, though. He wants to get right back at him.
No, we see the 7 charging those corners here, dropping it all the way he can. He's got to be careful that he doesn't do what we've been seeing so far and maybe tag that apron. We saw it happen to him a little bit there. It just got loose. But we know that 7's hungry now. But Kevin Berg, I'm sure, was just kind of like cheering a little bit in his seat, just happy to see that happen because he was able to take advantage and grab that top spot.
What was it, Las
Linkowitz,
Vegas? Las Vegas a couple years ago in the Nationwide Series, Mark Martin running 3rd. all of a sudden the 2 leaders get together and wreck and he goes on to win the race. That may be the same situation here as we got a caution.
Yeah, they're going to get a chance to group things up at least one more time because the caution flag out. The 51 of Matt Rolfe sideways, and he'll get that car pointed the right direction, guys. I don't think it's a surprise to say this, but
Kevin
it's a
Berg spun it out.
self-spin.
Kevin Berg spun it out trying to slow up for the number 51. He pulled up right in front of the leaders.
So Kevin Berg, your race leader in turn number 4, coming around the corner. We talked about how there's not a whole lot of visibility at this track. There's not a whole lot of visibility at all, really, in these modifieds. He locks it up, spins it out. I don't think he got into him. Question is the sim going to give him his spot back? I don't think so. I think the 99, at least from what I'm seeing right now, is being scored back into 13th position, and that would be a huge hit for Kevin Berg because, again, caution flag was out. I think he loses the race lead, and that's what he's complaining about on the radio. He feels he should be up top.
All right, Evan, I'm going to do it. I'm going to say it's Halloween. I think the full moon's out tonight right now.
Well, we're under the lights at Five Flag Speedway, and it was a conversation we had earlier. It is technically an afternoon race, and, we go racing in the afternoon. It's a night race, and later on tonight when we, we'll introduce you with a good evening, we'll still be under the lights, but it is a day race, quote unquote. These guys, a little bit more of a different mentality racing on the weekend, but they have been waiting for this. These guys qualified back on Monday. They had a 4-hour practice session before this race. You don't think they want it? If I'm Kevin Berg, though, and again, it's the sim scoring. There's nothing he can do about it because they were coming to take the pace car. He spun. He did not become the first car to get to the pace car. He doesn't get the lead. But if I'm him, I'd be heated.
Joe Schaefer Jr. He put it on the wrong channel, but he is lobbying for the 99 to get a spot back, and everybody else's black flags get cleared. And I don't know if that's a small enough hassle. I think it's just too big of a jump. It's a tough situation for the league admins. I mean,
well, they're discussing it right now, so trying to list it in on the radio. Joe Schaefer Jr., Dustin Phillips, Kyle Holtzhausen, some of the drivers in as the administration team, and the race control is currently looking at the situation, Cisco. The problem is, although there is, race control in here and there's live admins, we can't just send him to the front. What you would have to do is allow him to get to the front, then take everybody else's black flags away or set up for another restart. That then affects the end of this race because you would lose laps in doing so. So the conversation right now is that it's kind of split. So we're listening in on the team radio and as well race control radio. I can understand the sentiment with Kevin Berg because, again, he should be your race leader. And it was a car that already caused the caution that causes him to lose the spot. However, it appears that we will go back green as such. The conversation continues as we're already quickly approaching the drop of the green flag once again. I do think, though, they'll go through with the restart and the 99 of Kevin Berg from 1st to 12th. 29 laps, that's not a whole lot of time to get back up there. So pace car down, we're back green at the Five Flag Speedway. Now Linkowitz, a second shot at it, he's back in front.
We saw the 92 get a little bit of a shot there on the restart from the 35, sorry, it was Cody Erdman. And so he wanted to get going. He's going to take over that 3rd spot now. Kevin J. Myers stuck on that outside, so we have a caution. Huge pile up in turn 4. That's huge.
Matt Rolfe is upside down on his side, and that car will come back to a rest, but he's not even the start of this one. The big one from the Five Flag Speedway. It all starts with, and I can't say I'm surprised, guys, Kevin Berg. He was back. He knew he had to get going. Made a move that you probably wouldn't normally do. He was trying to go to the middle, and actually the 87 on the bottom of him pushes up a little bit, and that's part of Kevin Berg trying to pinch that through there in the 87 on the bottom, but hey, he goes up just the slightest bit. He gets into Berg, those two cars spin out, and then the track is blocked, and Matt Rolfe gets hit. He goes roof side first into the outside wall. It comes to a rest on the tires. That's a whole lot of guys back there, and for Kevin Berg, man, 3rd in line, finds an opening. He goes to the race lead. He leads us to a caution flag, and just about 6 or 7, 8 laps later, he's now 13th position. He is damaged, and he's on the pit lane taking his tires.
I think I'm going to have to rip away Ryan Borges' Heartbreak Award. I think I'm going to have to give it to Kevin.
Yeah, I was literally just going over the radio right now, Gabe, and I was going to say the same thing. I think you called that one a little early there, bud.
So he'll take those 4 tires and get back out there on the racetrack. For James Linkowitz, though, guys, we saw this game of cat and mouse a couple of times in this season. Again, we talked about how if you were with us for a couple of our nights live with the SARA RB Performance Super Late Model Series, the same tire rules were in effect. The guys up front, you almost get to a point where you can't take them now.
You've been so used to driving, tires as they kind of wear. And especially on a short track here, if you got new tires, that would completely change how the car drives. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the 7, the 92, and the 35 all just say, we don't need them. But you know what, Evan? We got about 25 laps to go. Who do you think's going to win this one?
Linkowitz is in a good spot. The story at the beginning of the race was, again, guys qualifying on Monday, racing tonight. Some guys had picked things up. We saw 4 very distinct battles for the race lead early, and they were distinctly in favor of the car that was second. So the passes early were the faster cars. Now, though, and I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, Gabriel, with that chrome horn, the guys that are making passes now may not be the faster cars at this point within 25 to go.
Yeah, keep in mind, we've got 2 more races, and most of these guys are going to be in those. If you wrong somebody, they've got another 150 laps to pay you back.
It'll be a restart inside of 25 laps to go. Mark it up with 23 left on the clock. James Linkowitz on the outside and Ty Spearman on the inside of the front row. The American Childhood Cancer Organization, a Ford Mustang GT pace car, makes the right turn down to the safety pit lane. Green flag flies and back underway. Top 2 single file. Linkowitz was not waiting at all for that one. Battle again for third. This time it goes in favor maybe of Bill Martin. No, it'll be Erdman clear. Martin gets second to 67 to Myers in fifth.
And it's basically bumper to bumper back there. Kevin J. Myers in the 67 kind of leading that train. Behind him, Hunter Combs in the 63. These guys are so close together. So they got to make sure not to make a mistake here, or we might yet see another caution. It looks like the 67 got a great run going into 3 and 4 there. So let's see if maybe Myers can maybe get a wheel on Martin there and try and grab that 4th spot. Sorry.
They all sit single file at the moment, but again, they're all stacked up on each other. Look at the battle for the race lead. It's Ty Spearman thinking about the bottom. He can't do it if you hit somebody. How hard can you hit them to move them, not wreck them, and avoid an EOL penalty? That's the big question. The 92 is Spearman as well in a spot where if that 7 really is faster than you are, you're going to have to throw it in. He's got to the inside. The 7 swings high. It's side by side for the race lead at 18 laps to go. Ty Spearman on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get cleared down the back. He'll get him in turn 3. New race leader, the 92.
Perfect move for the 92, James Linkowitz. 7 car, just a sitting duck right there as he could not get turned back to the bottom. Now let's see if he can take over and the 2nd spot and see if he can get back up there. If not, he's going to have a 35 of Cody Erdman right on his back bumper. See if Cody can get by him and chase down the 92.
I still feel like it's that 7 Linkowitz, maybe just a little bit quicker in second. However, Spearman pulling the gap about 2.5 car lengths at this point. 16 laps to go. This next time by the start-finish line, a couple of these guys, a caution again would still throw a big twist into this race. A caution inside of the final 5 laps would end it. There's no green-white checkers, so if they're going to wreck, they got to do it before 6 laps to go, and we'd get a shot at 1 additional restart. Ty Spearman doesn't want any of that, though. The 7, though, closing the gap just now 1 car length, P1 and 2.
Just goes to show how close this racing is. When Evan refers to 2 car lengths as a gap, as we got a caution.
And that's Anthony Mahone around, Alex O'Brien around, so the 1 car spins it out, and it's going to be trouble in front of him that causes him to go around. So Anthony Mahone started from the pit lane, check up in front of him, and it's the number 98 of Ian Lane who's sideways in turn 4. Lane saves it, but it drives that number 671 up into the fence, guys. That's that caution that we were talking about. This will set us up for maybe 1 final restart at the 5 Flag Speedway, Cisco, to determine it, and it came just when James Linkowitz had got back to the back bumper of Ty Spearman. They'll be alongside each other now. No love lost between these two.
No, they've been fighting all race right now, so it's going to be interesting to see in this final shootout. We know both those cars are so strong. It's just going to be a battle of guts, I think. Who's going to be the craziest person to jump down that inside and grab that lead? That's going to be who wins this race, I'm pretty sure.
And we talked about guys not really blocking. You know, the average line of the Five Flag Speedway, it's a fairly wide racetrack, Gabriel. You go to the bottom, you swing all the way up against the fence, so much that guys get into the fence a lot on corner exit. You might see a lot of these guys no longer give that inside an advantage, maybe cut that a little bit tighter on exit also. There's so many different ways you can drive defensively.
Yeah, I think these guys toward the back of the pack where these wrecks have been happening, I think they're going to be a little bit wary about pinching somebody. Like we've seen, if you pinch somebody coming off turn 4, they're more than likely to just wash up the racetrack and take both of you out and probably about 15 cars behind you.
The drivers that have not had the night that they wanted, Alex O'Brien just now falling one lap down after being involved in an incident. He is 14th, 15th, one lap down is the 25 of Todd Seip. Kevin Berg is 16th as well, one lap down, the heartbreaker for the driver of the 99 that led this race no more than 15 laps ago. Matt Rolfe, though, the 51, had a fast car, caught up in 2 accidents. His night will come to a close in 17th. Russell Berry still out on track, and if he stays out there, may have enough laps to gain a spot on Matt Rolfe and swap 18th and 17th, but Ryan Borges, your pole sitter, comes home 19th tonight after a couple of problems. Not at all what the 32 was looking for. I can promise that you'll see a lot more of him today and tomorrow, and then he is not done with this race weekend quite yet. So Ty Spearman, inside or outside? What do you guys think?
I think, oh man, I don't know. You gotta want that defensive line, though, especially with less than 10. We're gonna get the green here with less than 10 laps to go. But no, Spearman gonna take the outside, but I don't know. That would have been my call. I would have gone for that defensive line to hold that bottom line, because that's where the pass is gonna be made, if there is one.
Yeah, that outside lane, it's a good line for the restart, but you're just running the rest of that 7 car, getting a decent restart and getting the jump on you, and just getting a nose in there, and you're past, you're in second, and then you just try and work your way back up, and you may not get another restart.
If he's clear to turn 1, it'll give him a big advantage on exit. If the 7's there, this could go to James Linkowitz. Pace car down and away. Green flag flies. Less than 10 laps to go at 5 Flag Speedway. The race to turn 1. The 7 car, he keeps it there. No, now Spearman going to shut the door. The 92, your race leader, off of corner 2. And bad news for the 7, good news for the 92 is now they fight for second behind him. It's Erdman for P2.
Yeah, it looked like when the 92 came down, it just sort of like took the momentum out of the 7. That let the 35 out trouble 7 around.
He'll get wrecked from second spot. That car almost stop it over in the corner. Caution flag will fly. We'll get one more shot at it, but the yellow flag flies. And for James Linkowitz, you know that frustration that he's sitting in. We'll take a look at the replay now. The 35 to the bottom. I don't think the 35 of Cody Erdman is going to win this race, if we're being honest, because it has been a Ty Spearman, James Linkowitz show. But the 35 wants second, Cisco. He goes to the bottom, and you can tell the 7's quicker because the 7 makes the run out of 4. If you're in that spot, you're just wishing he would just hit the brakes and let you in line. And I mean, you're pinching him as much as you can. Throw a little bit of net code into that, and the 7 car gets turned from the second position. A hell of a job by Bill Martin for not being a statistic in that one. He avoids it high. A lot of the guys are able to sneak through. Not fortunately enough for Davey Riendo. Riendo gets into him, and that 7 car takes quite the ride.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy, and as Gabe mentioned, we have that street stock feature coming up pretty soon, and I wouldn't want to be Mr. Cody Erdman going into that race.
13 drivers on the lead lap, and I'd pose the same question inside or outside, but again, we discussed for Spearman, the top side, you get a big run into the corner, but it looked like Linkowitz had the nose there, however, Gabriel, just into the corner itself when you're entering that low, because, it's not about entering as high as you can on the bottom and arcing it into the corner. You're trying to just keep your nose there. You're taking the shortest distance. That's a brutal way to enter the corner. Linkowitz had the spot. Spearman gave him the lane, but because of the entry that the 7 had, he wasn't close enough to be able to keep it there, and once they got halfway through the corner, the 92 was able to come back down.
Oh yeah, the whole point of arcing that line is to get the best line through the corner. If you're right down there on the bottom, you got to put more wheel into it just to get the car turned. That scrubs off your entry speed, and then you don't have the proper line to get off the corner exit. So he was pretty much doomed just from that little bit of fender he had. He didn't have a chance. Looks like the 92, all of us are wrong. It looks like he's going to take the inside lane unless he changes it right before the start.
right now rides the bottom, and Cody Erdman maybe kind of riding up at the top side because everybody else single file. Maybe the 35 running up top trying to convince Spearman, hey, take the bottom. I want the top side. However, if I'm Spearman, if he wants the top, that means I'm taking it. We'll see, though. We're going to get the lights off on the pace car, we believe, this time by, and we'll take a look as the pace car cycles out of turn number 4. The verdict at 3 laps to go will be lights off. So I said, these guys, if the caution comes within inside of the last 5 laps, we don't go back green. Just enough time. There's no green-white checkers in the service, Cisco, but, well, it's a green-white checker. It'll be 2 laps at the green flag to determine the winner of this one. If they don't get to the white flag, a caution would end it. If they get to the white flag, it's a race to the stripe.
Yep, break out the popcorn, because this is going to be one exciting finish here as the pace car gets set to make that left turn onto pit road.
There's going to be some sheet metal for sale in the pits after this race.
Spearman going. Look at the start from Kevin J. Myers all over the back bumper. He looks to the bottom. Nothing there that time through. Down the back straightaway they go, and it's Myers trying to get second from Erdman.
What an incredible restart by the 67. He basically bump drafted him into the spot, and now white flag out for Ty Spearman. He's got one more lap around the park.
Myers was on the back bumper, but is not enough to do anything with it. Cody Erdman will slide back top side down the back, but for the final time in turns 3 and 4, Ty Spearman from 5th spot, the fastest car in time trials, checkered flag in the air. He wins from the 5 Flag Speedway, the NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150 SK Modified feature goes to Ty Spearman and his teammates, 2nd and 3rd. The posse with a pretty good showing in our first feature race on this Sim Auto Racing Association Fall Brawl Spectacular. Spearman gets it, and the team rounds out the podium. David Riendo P4, Cody Erdman comes home in 5th position.
Dale Owen going to pick up 6th. Marcus Lambert going to finish 7th. Wendell Stratton going to finish 8th. James Lankowitz, such a heartbreaker. He's going to come home 9th. And Hunter Combs, who was up there at the beginning, kind of fell back a little bit during the race. He'll finish 10th.
Number
we
87.
Talked about how wide this racetrack is and how tight it is as well. Well, Ty Spearman having a couple of problems getting those burnouts going, trying to keep it off the fence. But you see his team there, the posse, rightfully so. Gabriel going to park it, get some nice photos there, because although it wasn't a dominating race, this is a dominant organization. And when you come home 1, 2, 3, there's not a whole lot you can complain about.
No, the only way it could have been better if they showed across the line 3 wide, but, well, that would have been entertaining, but it would have been horrible. But this was about the best night you could have for that team.
And it is just the beginning of Saturday night's racing. Coming up just a little bit, street stocks a little bit later on, super trucks tomorrow, pro late models and super late models. We're officially now into the racing weekend for the SARA Fall Brawl Spectacular. Back in a moment from the 5 Flag Speedway, we'll talk to your top finishers and wrap up the NEORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150. You're watching LSRTV, the home of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among.
Once its sights are set, nothing can stop the ferocious lion from capturing its prey. Relying on keen senses, lions search patiently before striking with alarming speed. Wait for it. Gotcha, Mr. Piece of Rubbish. He is truly the master of his environment. Do good. Be a lion.
Back live at the virtual Five Flag Speedway. Race number 1 of 5 in the SARA Fall Brawl Spectacular is in the books in the NEORaceDo's.com. Fall Brawl 150. The SK feature is now come and gone. Ty Spearman, your winner. First, going to get the LSRTV post-race show kicked off, though. Going to pass the mic back down to the pit lane. Gabriel Wood, you've caught up with our hard charger on the evening. Bill Martin from 20th place on the grid via provisional to the 3rd step in tonight's race.
Yep, I'm down here on pit row with Bill Martin. He just came from Victory Lane, congratulating his teammate. Bill, what a night. You were easily the hard charger of the race, starting the race in 20th. You had an up and down night all night, but it ended up going in your favor. What's your impression on the night?
That iRacing was going easy on me. the first hit that I took on the inside wall, I watched the left front tire move, and then I followed Davey later on in the race into the wall on the outside, and I watched that tire move. And then when I went in the pits to get a couple of new tires, it said I had no damage. So it at least explained why the car was still driving normal, but it didn't look normal inside the cockpit.
We live by the netcode, we die by the netcode, eh, Bill?
Pretty much, yeah.
If you had about maybe 10 more laps and maybe Ty wasn't as far in front, you think you may have had the car to chase down your teammate, or you think you would have been happy with just staying in 3rd?
I don't think that I could have beat him, except for with maybe him screwing up. It was looking like, and from what James and Ty were saying, that the draft was playing a big enough role that whoever was ahead was basically the sitting duck. But I didn't have the practice time that they did at all. I've barely touched the track with this car. So, yeah, I'm surprised I even got to 3rd, because the way I was driving, it didn't seem like I deserved to stay in 3rd, going back and forth a couple of times.
All right, last question. With 2 more races tonight, what are your expectations for the street stocks and the super truck race?
I have literally no expectations whatsoever for either race. I'm not going to participate in the truck race. I will be away, but I believe I'm going to be doing the street stock. I'm not entirely sure, actually. But from what I've heard from the heat races, it's pretty damn competitive. So it should be good as long as everybody doesn't run into each other.
All right, Bill. Well, your second place teammate stepped away, so I think we're going to go straight to victory lane. Bill, congratulations on a good run tonight. I believe Evan's caught up with your winner.
Finally, we got race seat underway, and it is Ty Spearman who comes home as the winner tonight from the Five Flag Speedway to get things officially kicked off. And Ty, fastest driver in the time trials way back on a Monday. You didn't get pole through the dash, but you start this race at a good spot in 5th. You go on to win that race, but it was a whole lot more than just passing 4 cars. Walk us through that one.
Yeah, it was quite an entertaining race. I know me and James were talking back and forth, and I think Bill touched on this a little bit. When I was out front, I was tight. When James was out front, he was loose. So neither one of us, when we were out front, really handled that well. And I think really unfortunately, about 7 too many cautions. But I mean, we had a good setup. I mean, there's no doubt, and we never took tires and didn't have any plans on taking tires, to be honest with you, because of all the cautions. So it was a good night for the posse.
Coming to those final restarts, we were discussing a lot of which lane you would choose, and a 92, like the outside lane of the racetrack, and our discussion was the outside is going to give you a run as long as that guy on your inside doesn't stay there. And when Linkowitz was there on that second last restart, it was pretty close to turn one. Walk us through what those final restarts were like and what the idea behind that was.
Well, basically, James being a teammate of mine, I set the pace on the restart. So, it gives him the inside lane all the way through. So basically, I knew that I could get a run up high coming off of two and be able to clear James. But at the same time, he gets to keep his position being on the inside. So it works out really well when you work as a team like that. And the posse's really good at working with one another and making sure that we all get the best finishes that we can.
And not a bad night either when you guys go 1, 2, 3 on the podium. So 5 days in the books. Finally, we get to racing. We got straight stock, super trucks coming up, pro late models, super late models tomorrow. Both of those races tomorrow on LSRTV through iRacing Live. What can we expect to see out of you for the rest of the weekend?
Well, I think we've got some really good setups for the rest of the races this weekend. I honestly, earlier today, I was telling some of the guys that I don't know what kind of crack I was smoking when I signed up for all 5 races. I think it'll probably be nearly around 800 laps or so total over the weekend. So I'm satisfied. I'm going to be a little bit tired, like the rest of us will.
Well, I'll tell you what, that puts you in contention for that New Hampshire Motor Speedway prize pack for 2016 race weekend tickets. Not a bad deal, a little bit of an endurance involved in that, but you're on the right track here tonight with the first race and getting that first W. Before we let you go, any sponsors or shout-outs you want to thank for making this possible for you and the team?
Yeah, most certainly, definitely the posse, all those guys over there are jam up. We have a great time with one another. I want to thank 4S Sign and Supply. They have come on board this weekend to basically pay all my entry fees. So got to give a shout out to my dad for doing that for me. And definitely up to Matt Roth. Matt's done such a great job putting this together. I believe him and Kyle as well. So, I'm looking forward to 4 more races.
It's 150 down and 750 laps to go on your weekend, Ty. Thanks for sticking around and chatting. Congratulations on this one, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll see you in just a little bit over a half hour then.
Thanks, guys.
So with that, 1 down, 4 to go, guys, and still 2 more races remain in our Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, back-to-back-to-back triple feature, Cisco. Before, though, we make sure we roll these SKs out of the way and bring the street stocks in, run us down through our total finishing results for tonight's race.
Absolutely. As we talked to him, Ty Spearman going to get the win here at Five Flags Speedway. Kevin J. Myers' teammate going to finish 2nd. Bill Martin going to finish 3rd. Came all the way from 20th. Dave Riendo finishes 4th. And Cody Erdman going to round out your top 5. Dale Owen will finish 6th. Marcus Lambert 7th. Wendell Stratton 8th. James Lankowitz 9th. And Hunter Combs will be 10th. Patrick Hay is going to finish 11th. Ian Lane will finish 12th. And Anthony Mahoney will finish 13th. Todd Sipe going to finish 14th. Alex O'Brien, first car, 1 lap down. He's going to finish 15th. Kevin Berg, 7 laps down, was leading up there at the beginning, had a good run until late race caution. He's going to finish 16th. Russell Berry going to finish 17th. Matt Rolfe, 18th. Ryan Borges, 19th, and from there on, people were not able to get the engines fired up in time. Joe Schaefer, Kyle Holtzhausen, and Dustin Phillips is going to round out your 22-car field.
So 19 took the grid tonight, and I have to agree with Ty Spearman, Gabriel. Teammates up front, but, you watch the racing and you watch how, the strategy aspect into that one, but they weren't racing like teammates. They were clean with each other, which is good, but they were still able to go at each other hard, and I don't think this is the only time we're going to see some of those guys from that team on the podium tonight and this race weekend. Before we close off, though, the first 1 out of 3 tonight, what are your final thoughts on the NAORacingNews.com Fall Brawl 150?
Well, my impression is just there were a lot of cautions, but it was a lot of good, clean racing through most of the race. I really wasn't expecting that. And it gives me hope for the rest of the night. If we see a larger field, most of these guys are going to be in there. They're going to have a lot of practice laps. And, I'm really surprised and I'm really happy that these guys got a good race in.
The SK Modified feature in the books in Cisco. We turn to the Street Stock feature. Going to be live on LSRTV in just a little bit over a half hour on the, October the 31st. Our Halloween racing continues for the Callaway Investments Fall Brawl 150.
Yeah, it's definitely been back to back to back to back to back, all sorts of tobacco races for us this whole week. So I don't know about you, Evan, but I could use a vacation after this.
Agreed.
Well, you know what? Callaway Investments will help us out, providing more than 80 rental homes as well as vacation homes in Panama City, Florida. Check out Callaway Investments for all your rental home needs.
And then that one going to be doubled up with the D&D Amusement Games Fall Brawl 150. We still have 2 more feature races to come tonight on LSRTV, and we hope to see you there. Though until the next one, going to step away, and we'll be back on the air in just over a half hour. So for the entire LSRTV team and for the booth crew tonight, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Cisco Scarmuza, Gabriel Wood, and our executive producer, Laura Lawson, congratulations to Ty Spearman, the SK Modified winner. We'll see you in just a little bit for the Street Stock feature live on LSRTV.